And coming up on this episode of the MartyMariner Show, well, what a great episode I've got in store for you today. Tiarna Karambasis, another one of our young guns from our Central Coast Mariners women's team, joins us for a bit of a chat, bit of a chinwag, bit of a conversation. We talk about her early years up there in Queensland and travelling down, and how she made her way to the Central Coast Mariners, and of course what it's like for her now filling the very, very big shoes of our injured skipper, Taren King. And we take a moment to wish Taren all the best in her recovery. We miss seeing you out there, but we love seeing you around the ground. Still our captain, still love seeing you. So all the best in your recovery. I think Tiarna's done a great job in filling those boots, but we'll talk to her about that and how daunting is it? Such a big character in the team, the skipper, definitely in the back line, and Tiarna, I think she's done an admirable job. So we'll talk to her about that. And then we're going to catch up. Well, they're two of our favourites here on the MartyMariner Show, Carly and Gabby. A couple of weeks ago, we had a bit of a chat about the men's season and how that was going. Well, it's now time for the women's. How do we think we are going? What players have impressed? And have a bit of a chat with Carly and Gabby because they were there from the beginning. This was when it was a concept on paper. These guys were there. So can't wait to sort of find out how it feels for them to see what was an idea and a concept to now see them running out at Industree Group Stadium. Looking forward to catching up with those two. It's always a good time when we catch up. Looking forward to that. Don't forget to our bucket hats are out. This episode, as we are putting it out now, is Friday night. Next Wednesday, I believe it's the 21st of February, will be the closing day for the orders. So please, if you haven't ordered yet, thanks to everyone who has, by the way. Inbox is a bit undated, so sorry if I haven't got back to you just yet. I will do so after recording today. Thank you so much for the messages. All the details are in there. When you send me a message about it, we'll get the hat sorted. As I said, next Wednesday, they take about 3-4 weeks to come in, and we will get them to you. So thank you so much for the interest. It's been absolutely sensational. We aren't ordering any extras. There won't be any for sale at any other place, and they are limited edition. We will only be doing the one order. So thank you so much to everyone who has ordered. If you're about to do so, thank you in advance. Looking forward to seeing a few floating around the place. That will be so cool. All right, better not keep the ladies waiting any longer. Tiarna is up, ready to go. Let's have a bit of a chat, a bit of a chinwag, and a bit of a conversation. It's Tiarna Karambasis, and it's here on the MartyMariner Show. And welcome back to the MartyMariner Show. And as I said in the introduction, haven't we seen some young talent coming through our side, even just this first year of our women's team? And one of them has graciously said they will join us for a bit of a chat, bit of a chinwag, bit of a conversation. Tiarna Karambasis, how are you doing, mate? Welcome to the MartyMariner Show.
I'm really well. Thank you for having me.
No, pleasure is all ours, mate. And look, I've got to ask you the question that we ask everybody straight up. What's your first footballing memory?
Oh, starting with the tough ones I see.
Yeah.
Mine would have to be from when I was really young, just playing with my brothers in the backyard or running around with their team when I was still too young to play.
Yep. And do you think a lot of, when we speak to men's, women's, doesn't matter, but a lot of the earliest memories were running around with family, older brothers or sisters or family members and stuff. Do you think that gives you the grounding to go on with because it's that enjoyment from playing that you sort of want to hold on to all the way through?
Yeah, definitely. I think when times have always gotten hard or haven't been as easy or haven't enjoyed it as much as what you'd hope, it's definitely those types of moments that you use to really like you said, ground yourself and remember why you play and the enjoyment of it.
Absolutely. And because you grew up in was it North Queensland when you first started?
Yeah, I did grow up in Townsville. I did start playing in Brisbane first. My first ever club was Oxley United in Brisbane, but I played there for maybe a year before we moved to Townsville. And yeah, that is where I grew up and played most of my football.
And what was the football like up there? Is there a difference between playing in the farthest reaches of Queensland to then, I mean, obviously the setup on the Central Coast, but is there a difference in the game?
Yeah, I think so. There definitely is. I moved from Townsville to Brisbane for soccer when I was 16 years old. So I think the pace is different, but I think you find that we're probably a little bit rougher and tougher up there. Or maybe you lack those little bits of skill, or because the pace is a bit slower, you find that everybody's got a bit more tenacity in them. But I think definitely going up in North Queensland and playing in North Queensland made me the player I am, and I don't think I would be here without playing there. So very grateful.
100%. And after seeing you play a few times now, we can certainly see that tenacity, and we love absolutely every little bit of it. And was it from there that you ended up at Lions? Was that the pathway for you?
Yeah, it was a little bit up and down for me. I came down and did a stint with the Brisbane Roar through the youth side.
Yeah.
I then did a year in Sydney, playing in the NPL down there, or down here now.
Yeah.
And then I've actually done my ACL a couple of times. So I was on and off from Lions through rehab. But yeah, Lions were great. I love them. Such a great club. They're my family as well. And I have a lot to thank them for too.
Absolutely. Because your last season there, I think, was a very successful one, right?
Yeah, it was. We were premiers. Unfortunately, we didn't make it to the grand final. Don't like to be reminded of it. Still upset.
Absolutely. My bad. We'll rewind.
It was very successful, though. I mean, we won the cup and we won the premiership, and that's Lions' goal first and foremost, is to win a premiership before championships. So it would have been a bit sweeter to have the cherry on top, but it still was a successful year by all means.
100%. And I mean, I notice everywhere that I read, anything about that you've done, it always lists midfielder. And yet we've got you playing in the centre back next to Ash at the moment. What is your preferred position? Have you always been a midfielder and we're just adapting at the moment? Where has that all come from?
Yeah, I have always been a midfielder. There's definitely been times throughout my career that I've jumped into centre back to do a job, and I am comfortable there. I do prefer the midfield, but yeah, more than happy to do a job at centre back, and I do quite enjoy it as well. So it's not too bad, and I like playing beside Ash. Yeah, she's great.
Yeah, we've had Ash on the show before. Are you handy with the goalkeeping gloves as well, just in case? Because Ash has set a pretty high bar when it comes to positions to be played on the field.
I am not. I honestly am terrible with anything to do with catching a ball, and I was so grateful when she put her hand up, because but that's her. That's her personality, and I wouldn't want anybody else in there stepping in like that. Yeah. But that was her heroics that night were pretty insane.
Oh, it'll go down in Mariners folklore, that's for sure. It was absolutely unbelievable seeing that happen. How did it end up you being at the Central Coast Mariners? Do you remember the day you either got it? Was it a phone call? Was it a trial?
It was a trial. I was in touch with M for a little bit towards the back end of the NPL season. I think I just had I had a pretty successful season myself in the Queensland NPL last year, and we reached out to each other and came down to the Central Coast for a trial one night, and then the rest is history.
And here you are. And I spoke before about levels and sort of moving up. What have you noticed the most? Because obviously having injuries as well. Obviously, it's a step up to make sure that's right. But what have you noticed so far with the step up? Is it just faster, more physical? Is that what you've noticed?
Yeah, I think the pace was definitely the first thing that I noticed. Yeah, the pace. I think the physicality wise, it's probably quite similar, maybe a little bit more stronger, but
yeah,
not too much, but definitely the pace, just the movement of the ball, and probably every player on the field having that ability as well.
Yeah.
I think you might find in NPL it can sometimes be, I don't know, a little bit inconsistent, but yeah, the pace and everybody on the field being able to do that and move the ball quickly is the biggest difference. Yeah.
Absolutely. And who have been the biggest influences on your game? Have there been coaches or players that you've kind of role modeled against?
Yeah, over time, I think I've had some great role models. I think when I like growing up in Townsville, I always come back to two people that really sort of shaped my pathway. I think in Townsville, sometimes it's, you have this goal, but it's a little bit hard to see the pathway when there's not many people around you in those regional areas. But I had a really important coach. Her name is Kat Roncardo, and a mentor as well who had played in the W League that was from North Queensland, Ashley Spina. She'd been around for a while back then. So they were definitely in my younger years, yeah, for sure, shaped the player and who I was. As I sort of got older, your coaches change in and out. I think my Lions coach, though, was a consistent throughout, even my injuries and giving me advice and always there. And he was, that's Rob Askew. He's always, yeah, I guess through, yeah, since sort of leaving school, he's been a nice guiding light.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I mean, we spoke of injuries. We actually were speaking to Brad Tapp recently, who's had a bit of an injury, just got broke into the first team, and injury happens and stuff. We were talking about the mentality. It's not just the physicality of getting back; it's the mentality. How was that for you? Because I'm thinking at such a young age, is it career done? I'm never going to get back out there again. How's it been mentally for you?
Yeah, it was a wild ride. So I did my first ACL just before I turned 18. And then I did my second one about 14 months later. The first time I was reflecting on it now, I was definitely way too impatient. I just wanted to get back playing, and everybody told me to wait, and I didn't want to. And I learnt my lesson, and I did it again.
You did,
But
yeah.
the second time, yeah, I definitely I told most people that I wasn't going to play football again. I took 2 years off. And yeah, it was hard. I think a lot of people that have had injuries would know that it's not easy, and you go through ups and downs. It feels like 2 steps forward, 1 step back. But again, it was my Lions coach that kind of convinced me to just give it one more crack before I stop. And yeah, I'm very grateful for that. That he was willing to give me that opportunity as well. Like 2 years off football is a pretty long time. But I have a lot of great people around me at home, coaches, obviously, even at work. So I'm really lucky for that. And yeah, I think that the people around me are what really got me through. And I'm so grateful. I know I wasn't the easiest person to deal with.
Understandably so too. And is it something still you have to still work on? Is there still preparation that you mentally have to do to say, I'm fine, I'm good now? Or is it, I've shut the door on that, let's just move on?
I think for the most part, I've shut the door on it. Let's move on. I mean, I definitely have niggles with my knee that I like. I feel like I'm always in maintenance with it.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty confident in the strength of it, and I know that I do all the right things to
Yeah.
make sure it's ready to play a game or train. Uh, Probably the only times that I really think about it is if I get like smacked or I go down and it
Yeah.
feels a bit funny and you freak out for a quick second. But
Yeah.
other than that, I don't. Probably in the past year, there hasn't really been a time where I've stepped onto the field concerned about it. Yeah, which is good. And I try to just shut the door and move on.
Yeah.
Don't want to think about it too much. I think then it gets in my head more when I play.
100%, exactly right too. And obviously in coming down to coach, and you mentioned him before too, who's obviously, you know, building a brand new squad, putting players in together, and it's still a work in progress. I think we can't kind of forget that this is the first time this squad's been together, and competing so well. What qualities do you like in Emily? What do you like in her coaching, and what do you think she brings out in you?
Yeah, Em's great. I feel really grateful to have her as my coach. She is really approachable, which I think is what everybody loves about her. I feel like I could go to her with anything, and know that I'm going to get a completely transparent answer from her, which I really appreciate. I think she probably brings out like my confidence, to be honest. Like, this is my first year in the league, and I think she really understands that, and the way she speaks to me on the field and stuff, I think I really appreciate. And she, isn't afraid to, yell at me, but I think when there's credit due, she gives it, and I really appreciate that. It really helps, build the confidence and sort of grow into the league the further the season goes on.
Absolutely. And I know you mentioned Ash before, and what a legend she's been as a consistent in the back. Shocking news, like with Taren getting injured. I mean, obviously that opens the door, but we don't like seeing anyone get injured, and especially the skipper of the team as well. She's such a great leader out there. Did it kind of feel a little bit like really big shoes to fill? It was kind of, because I mean, those two had formed a really good partnership in the back line. Stepping in there, was there put a little bit of pressure on yourself, or was like, nah, I got this. This is fine.
A mix. 100% shoes to fill. Like you said, Taz is just an amazing leader, and I think her ability aside, her leadership on the field was the shoes to fill. And I think everybody has stepped up, and I didn't take all that weight on because I knew everybody would step up, but that was just such a big loss. I think she just communicates so well. And I definitely did feel a little bit of pressure in that sense. I knew that ability-wise I would be able to step in and do the job and grow further and further into it. But that being said, of course, like I definitely felt like big shoes to fill, definitely.
Absolutely. And what is it like playing next to Ash? Because, I mean, we've spoken to her on here and we sort of see, she's always got the big smile and stuff like that. But we've also seen when she goes into challenges, like she's not there with a bunch of roses and chocolates, like she's hitting as hard as ever. What is she like to play against? Play with, I should say.
Play with? Yeah, she's awesome. We've formed a good friendship off the field, so it's been really nice to play beside her. I think sometimes someone whips us both into line because we both can tend to not be too serious. But I think our friendship off the field has definitely helped on the field for sure. I think we communicate really well. I know that she's got my back, and I hope that she knows that I have hers. But no, it's good. It's very good.
And you guys have been outstanding, as I said, since you've stepped in. I mean, I know, as we said, big shoes, but you've just been outstanding since you've started, I reckon. And tell me too, because sometimes, I mean, I know especially Melbourne had a bit more of an experienced front line. The banter, is there a lot of chat going on that, I don't know if it surprised you or not, but was there a lot of chat going on and that we don't probably see on the camera or hear from the stands that's sort of going on, or is it very just like quiet and stuff like that?
Between us and Melbourne?
Yeah. Or even other clubs. Are they all different?
They are all different for sure. There's definitely been some that are a bit more chirpy than others. Melbourne was actually quite good. Like they didn't really say, like there wasn't too much banter or trash talking, if you will. But there definitely has been some teams that do. I kind of just laugh. Like I don't, when I'm on the field, I'm definitely serious. It's game time to go, but at the same time like we are all there to have fun, and when someone's there trash talking me, I just find it a bit funny, to be honest.
Have you ever told them that they've tried to have a crack at you and give you a bit of banter, and you've laughed and said, yeah, good one, I actually appreciate that one, I'll use that one myself one day?
I do usually laugh because I think when you laugh they kind of just get a bit like get a bit unexpected, so I like to laugh because I think it probably throws them off more than they've thrown me off. In the moment, I have definitely trash talked people as well, so I can't act all innocent.
Well, but yeah, we're very PG on this show, so we can't actually ask you what you said, but we'll just take it for granted that it
No,
was
I won't tell you.
pretty decent anyway. I actually did see an interview with you. I think it was Ladies Round. It might have been a couple of years ago when we first heard about the World Cup coming to the country and how you're excited, hopefully getting to get. Did you get to many games? What was your experience of the World Cup?
Oh, I thought the World Cup was so cool.
Yeah,
It was great. It was
yeah.
so good. Definitely got to a few games in Brisbane. I was there live for that heart-wrenching
Oh,
penalty shootout. I think, oh, my stress levels after that game were just peaked.
awesome.
But no, I thought it was so good, and I thought it was amazing for women's football. I mean, even when I was watching the games that weren't in Brisbane but were on the TV, just chills of those crowds. Like, yeah, it's just even now sometimes it's just crazy to fathom that like Australia and the Matildas were able to do something like that. And I just think they all handled it so incredibly well.
Yeah. And is this a dream for you one day?
Um, yeah,
Why not?
why not?
I'm happy to play in a World Cup. She says, "Yeah, put me down. I'll get a tracksuit. I'll be happy with that."
Yeah, me interview one.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, I mean, I know being at the final was just, I was lucky to go to a few games, but to be at the final, the atmosphere and just the feeling that you had to pinch yourself of this is a World Cup final being played in Sydney. It was just, it was amazing. As great as it would have been for many to have the Matildas there. I was quite happy that the Lionesses were there, coming from England myself. But do you think that we've there was a lot of momentum around that time, and I've asked a few people, do you think we've taken that momentum of the World Cup forward? Do you think there's more we could be doing?
I do. I think they've somewhat capitalized on it. I wouldn't say fully. Um, yeah, I think there's definitely more that probably could be done.
Because I'm imagining too, probably when you started, I mean, I'm not saying definitely not old by any stretch, but you were probably playing when there was boys teams, and it was like the girls going to
Mm.
the boys teams, right?
Yeah, I don't think I started playing with girls till under 11s, maybe, possibly under 10s. But
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. I started when I was about 6 years old.
right. It was
Yeah.
straight into there. I mean, and I do see the pathways now that, obviously we've got the girls' teams and we've got the academy. It seems like the structure's there, right? Because there's just so
Mm.
many young players coming through now. And, with the A League, the women's, competition as it is, there are opportunities out there, right, for the players to show their talent.
Yeah, the pathway is definitely there, which I think is the right stepping stone. That's great, and you are right. And there's so many academies, and like you look at the Central Coast, for
Yeah.
example, they've got is it one from like under the youngest you can be all the way up, which I just
Yep.
think is fantastic, and it's so great to be a part of a community club like that. I think that's so important. So yeah, and I feel like it's pretty well like that around most of the country. I think you'd find that there's structures there for females all the way through. But yeah, I mean, I feel like there's definitely a little bit that could have been done off the back of the World
Yeah.
Cup to just really keep that momentum going. I think when you lose a little bit of it, it's really hard to rebuild it. But
Yeah. We'll see how we go. We'll see how we go. With the way you
yeah.
guys are playing, it's certainly attracting people to the game. That's absolutely for sure. Just tell me quickly too, your first impressions of the Central Coast, but also Central Coast Stadium, palm trees, giant sauce bottles, a cannon, a Viking mascot walking around the outside. What were your thoughts?
Oh, it's stunning, isn't it?
Yeah, it's
Oh,
brilliant.
the stadium
Paradise. It's paradise.
it's, yeah, it really is our own paradise. And I think it's the most picturesque stadium in Australia for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
It's
and
such a
the
great setup.
and you found the surface okay too, because I mean, some players that we sort of speak to, they say, "Oh, it's great." I guess it depends on if there's been rugby league or something played on it since or after. But have you found the ground itself okay? It seems to be pretty big. A lot of players seem to say.
I really like it. The Lions field is really big
Nice.
itself, so I'm used to being played on a massive pitch. I think they would be similar sizes. So
Yeah.
I really like a big pitch. You can sort of stretch the other team.
Yeah.
And I think it is definitely an advantage on a home ground having the big pitch. If other teams aren't used to it, I think you can definitely use that against them. but no, I think it's great. I mean, I'm easily pleased, but I just thought it was awesome.
Well, I mean, you'd be hard to please if you're not turning up to a field with the Brisbane water in the background and palm trees and all sorts of things going on. So it's definitely,
exactly.
well, I'm biased, but it's the best stadium in the world. But yeah, do you follow the sport anywhere else in the world or follow any other teams around?
I'm a Man City fan, if that's what you're asking.
Oh dear. Okay. Well, we'll edit that part out. We can't be having that. They've had some successful times of just late, haven't they? Jesus.
Yeah, they're my EPL side. I think I only started going for them because my brother went for them. But
Right.
yeah, no, I do go for them and I follow them. Obviously I follow the game in Australia.
Sure.
And I do enjoy watching the WSL.
Well, yeah. Well, there's definitely worse teams to be following than Man City because they've certainly got a few trophies in the cabinet, or way more than my Tottenham side anyway. But that's another conversation for another podcast and for two. Tiarna, thanks so much for joining us. It's been absolutely awesome to have a chat with you. You've been sensational since you've come in. I think we've said before there were massive shoes to fill, and I think you've done an admirable job. And long may it continue for as long as you want it to be playing in the back and not in the midfield, of course. Thanks for coming on the show, and all the best for this weekend and the rest of the season.
Thank you so much for having me. So good to chat.
We'll catch up with you soon.
Cheers.
And welcome back to the MartyMariner Show. And, well, what would a MartyMariner Show be if we didn't have a panel? Earlier tonight, we spoke to Tiarna Karambasis. What a great chat that was. And the legends just keep on coming with two people who are no strangers to the MartyMariner Show. First of all, well, we've said it before, she's a princess of the palm tree. She is the Baroness of the Brisbane Water. And when Johnny Farnham sings You're the Voice, he's talking about this young lady on women's match days at Industree Group Stadium. Carly, how are you doing?
I'm good. The intros just keep getting more and more extravagant, and
yeah,
I'm here for it. So
yeah,
good.
Yeah. I probably get paid to do different things at work, but I prefer just to work on all my intros and stuff like that. So, but welcome, mate. We'll have a chat about football very, very soon. And another lady who, well, let's just face it, she's always been a Central Coast Mariners legend and always will be. Now out there working for Star, which is no surprise to us because she's been a Star forever. Gabby Bowles, how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you.
Good to see you again, mate. Loving the red hair, by the way. I think I've mentioned that before. It's looking really cool.
Look, I'm on brand. It's very, very Star hairdo. So just repping the brand.
Oh, look at you. If she's going to do it, she's going to do it properly and stuff like that. But we wanted to have a bit of a look at the women's season so far. How our women's team has gone. Before we do, both of you very instrumental pre-women's team in the fundamental sort of stuff that was going on. Carly, can I just ask, first of all, what's it like to actually see a team running out now? Now, you're in a prime position. You're calling out names and all sorts of things. But you've been there when this was just an idea on paper. What is it like now to actually see them go out and play?
I still have those pinch me moments.
Yeah.
I remember I came back from maternity leave and working on getting the women's team back into the then W League was kind of my job. And yeah, look at my then newborn is now nearly 8 years old and we're finally there. Bit of a slow haul, but there was so much work and effort that was put in by so many people at the club to get it where it is today. And the fact that the girls are doing so well, like, we may sort of be sitting sort of that mid-table, but the fact that it's a brand new team, brand new coach, it's a whole new club, a club in the Liberty A League. It's showing that we've set all the right things in place in the back end, because if you don't have everything right in the back end, the team itself isn't going to perform. So I think it just goes to show that, that all that hard work has actually paid off. And yeah, it's honestly just a dream watching them, run out every week. And yeah, so excited that I get to do it.
Clearly, one of the best seats in the house, apart from those that we sit in, of course. And Gabby, for someone who's played on the Central Coast for a long time as well, obviously instrumental through the Mariners, what's it like for you to finally see this Mariners team running out? Is there still a a pinch me moment for yourself that you're just like, yeah, this is really cool still?
Yeah, 100%. I think, like Carly summed it up. I don't think many people know how much hard work, particularly what Carly did, really building a strong case early on that's helped, put them on the right footing. And, since things like her crew were launched and getting people like Renee Izarif involved, who was the Coast's first national team player, Renee's brought with her a stack of Matilda's alumni that are now regular attendees at these games. Some of them were Sydney FC supporters, some of them were Newey supporters, some of them were, just general supporters of women's football. But they've fallen in behind, this Mariners team because they see what Emily's doing. They see how the club supported them, having them play out of a proper stadium where a lot of the others are in, the equivalent of an NPL venue. And they know that this is the direction women's football should be headed in, and they're throwing their weight and support behind it and advocating it. I think that, we always knew, Carly and I have both played on the Coast for a long time. We knew how much love there was for this sport, with women and how many people enjoyed watching women's football. To see where it is now, it is very much still pinch me stuff. And that's not to say there isn't, further to go. But it's certainly in a good place. And that's, thanks to the hard work of people like Carly and the support that's been thrown behind it.
Absolutely. And speaking of those Matilda's alumni, stay tuned to the MartyMariner Show. There may well be some interviews coming your way very, very soon, which I'm very excited about, and looking forward to having a bit of a chat, bit of a chinwag, and a bit of a conversation with those ladies as well. Carly, the season starts for us, and to me, I had a few conversations with Emily Husband, and I was just blown away by her spirit, her knowledge, her attitude. It was all about the community. It was like she instantly just dropped into this club. Have you found the same sort of thing? There's that buzz around the team, that community minded that we've always loved is there, right?
Yeah, definitely. And I think you can tell that it's just, and I'm going to sound old when I say this, but it seems like there's a really good vibe around the team. I feel very old saying that. Even just like watching their performances where we may have lost a game, but you watch the game and at no stage in any player are they giving up. They are just always at it 100%. I mean, a few weeks back there was a game where we were down, I think it was when we played Sydney FC, can't remember which game it was, but came back with a few more goals. And, the one where we got the penalty right at the end, they were constantly fighting right until the end. And I just think that's a real continuous theme that I've seen in every single game. And that all comes from the right kind of culture, which then comes from the right kind of leadership. So definitely Emily Husband is doing whatever she's doing is an amazing job and needs to keep doing it because it's working. And like I said before, we might not be top of the table, but we are seeing some good wins there, and we're seeing, some standout players, and we're seeing the team starting to mesh. So, it means that we're doing something right, which is great. And it is so good to see the community getting behind them. Friends of mine who've played soccer for years, never gone to a Mariners game before. Now they'll go and watch the women. Like, it's just being able to introduce all of these brand new fans. And it's just such a good, warm and fuzzy feeling, because it feels like I've always enjoyed going to the football and enjoyed going to the men's game. And now it just feels like I can share that with more people. And the fact that the team and the club are really on board with just making sure that it's, I guess, the people's club. They're definitely doing something right and heading in the right direction.
100%. And as you said, and as I think they did say in the castle as well, it's the vibe. It certainly is. Gabby, I don't know too many people who are more community-minded than yourself. And you got to know these players very early on as well. They just got it, didn't they? The message was strong, not only about come and play football and this, that, and everything else, but we are a community. Come join it. Is that the impression that you've had from the start?
Yeah, 100%. They've bought into it. I couldn't say there's not a single player in that team that hasn't bought into the bigger picture. So they're not just there for themselves. Obviously, they've got careers and they're looking to achieve things, but every single one of them has bought into the fact that this team sits in a community and they appreciate and they're grateful for that, and they want to give back and just do the best they can. Like, the pride in that badge is massive. Yeah, I was up at the sports college the other day and ducked down to have a sticky beak at training, and the way the girls rally each other, the way they are with the students at the sports college, they're grateful that people are so excited to see them and to support them. And I think they understand that this is more than just a job. You've actually got to be invested, and it adds to that culture that Carly was talking about, is that there is this communal buy-in to what they're doing and what they're trying to achieve, not just for themselves but for the wider community on the coast.
100%. Couldn't agree with that more. So let's look at current day. Let's put the table up and have a bit of a look. Currently sitting 7th on the table. 16 games have played, and haven't they flown past? I couldn't believe that when I looked and went 16 games already. Won 6, drawn 4, lost 6. Sitting on 22 points. We're 8 points off the top of the table. Carly, as a perspective of looking new team and how we look, how do you see where we're sitting right now? Is that above what you thought, below what we thought, about what you thought? It's not a bad effort, really, as you said.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably as I thought. The optimist in me would love to say, nah, we'll go in season 1 and win the whole thing. Why not? Because that'd be great. Yeah. But I think the fact that it's just the consistency, the hard work they're putting in, just that determination. And also, it's just really good to see the crowds as well. Like, I think it has helped that we've had a few double headers, but even when we've got the standalone games, we're still seeing a decent crowd coming in. And it's interesting to see that, it's different people, and you're still hearing people yelling out, who do we sing for? Yeah, and there might only be 1,500, 2,000 people there, but it can sound like there's 5,000 or 6,000 when everyone's cheering. So I think it's got so much more to do with just not so much their position on the ladder, but I think just how they've just come into the league and what they're doing on a broader scale. So on the pitch, they're doing what they need to do. They're winning some games. We have had some losses, but that's football. But every game has been entertaining. So they're doing what they need to do. I'm happy with where we are. Would be great if we were a bit further up, but there's still plenty more games to come. So who knows?
Absolutely. And every time I speak to Emily, and we agree, if we make that top 6, I don't think any team will want to play us, because I think on our day, and I've seen us play, I think we've played pretty much everyone now. On our day, I think we can beat any team in the competition. That's not to say that we'll win every game from now on in, but I think the ability is there. From what you've seen, sitting 7th on the table, is that about where you thought? And what about performance in general? Have you been pretty impressed with how we've been going?
Yeah, well, I've been massively impressed. I'd actually, I would say we're unlucky to be in 7th. There've been some narrow losses, games where I thought we were competitive, decisions maybe not going our way, a few niggling injuries and things. But I think it's that mentality. That mentality will get us to finals. And I completely agree. I don't think there's a single team in that comp that is going to want to come up against us in finals, because that's the one thing that I see from this squad. That is obviously different from our competitors, is there's, like Carly said earlier, not a single player on that pitch who gives up. And when their back's against the wall, they just go harder. If a mistake's made, they address it, they reset, they encourage each other. There's none of these moments of dropping heads or anything, or feeling defeated. Until that final whistle goes, it's all or nothing, and it's really admirable. I think it makes it really exciting to watch.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think I'd be dropping my head if I was playing in that team, because I would hate to face Emily's husband in a dressing shed after doing that, because I reckon the paint would be off the walls, because I wouldn't be arguing with her. I reckon she'd a whole heap of stick. And I'll say with you, double headers. Are you a fan or not a fan?
Double headers. I have mixed feelings about them. My issue is probably more the time that the women's games are scheduled. They seem to get the rough end of the stick. With a commercial background in sport, my argument is you hear the justification that, they don't have bigger audiences. Well, you put it on at a crap time of day, you're not making it appealing for people to attend. If you're not giving them prime time broadcast, then what do you expect? You're asking for something that is an exception to the rule. I really think if they want to test this league for all teams, put the women in those prime time positions. They aren't as established as the men's comp. So, elevate them, give them a platform. It's about visibility. That would be my biggest beef with the double headers. But other than that, I think, from a fan's perspective, it's awesome to be able to go and watch both your teams on the one day. It's one of the things that I've seen thrown around as a criticism of the Unite round was, while that's a great concept, they had men's and women's teams from the same clubs playing at completely different venues across town. Now, if you really wanted to drive support for that, have your men's and women's from the same clubs backing up after each other at the same venue. You're only going to grow your audience then.
Absolutely.
So
I'm totally in agreement with you. I mean, I think there definitely are pluses and minuses on both sides of it. And Carly, for someone like yourself, I guess it might make it a bit of a longer day, especially when the women played after the men the other week. What's your thoughts on the doubleheader?
I think Gab sort of summed it up perfectly. There's definitely positives and negatives. You can again, coming from a club background as well, we know why they do it. Don't always necessarily agree with it, but a bit like Gab said, they got the shit end of the stick, even when they had, they got the early games, but then there was the game the other week and it didn't kick off until 8 o'clock on a Sunday.
Really hot day, yeah.
Even when they do get the prime time, like the second game where, the men are actually opening for the women, it's still a crap time. And so many people had to leave early because, I understand it was school holidays, but it's still 8 o'clock on a Sunday and people have got to go to work and all that. And it was one of those things completely out of everyone's control because of the weather. But yeah, it would just be so good to see a bit more, like actually putting the women up on the stage, like prime time, give them the prime viewing that they deserve. And look, double headers for me aren't a longer day. It actually works out quite well because I get to go and work for the first half of it and then sit in the stands with my son for the second half and watch the men. So it's the best of both worlds, really. But in saying that, I do love the women's standalone games. Like I said before, you have a bit of a different crowd. There's a lot more younger people there, lots of kids, and it's just a really good energy as well.
Absolutely. And I love it. I mean, I know being to many of the men's games, you sort of know with about 10, 15 to go, the kids are making their way to the front fence. They want to meet there. But it's happening for the women's games too. And I know the women love that. They look around, they see it, and they're like, yeah, they're here. It's just amazing. And I'm really, really happy that we see that for the women's games as well. Gab, I'll come to you first. So far this year, we've had some I think we've had some outstanding performances by a lot of our players. So far this year, who's your player of the year?
Oh, that's a horribly hard question.
It's what we do on the MartyMariner Show. We hit hard, we hit low.
Look, I've got to say I have been incredibly impressed with Izzy Gomez. She's everywhere. She's absolutely everywhere. Such a workhorse, and I think really controls things in the middle of the park, along with B. Garlich. Another favourite, I do love Ash Irwin. I just love how she smashes through people. That's the defender in me. She's got some real spunk about her. She's a bit cheeky, but she knows when to go in. She knows how hard to hit. I'd be hard pressed to sort of, pull between those three. But look, I do think Izzy's been a bit of a standout so far this season.
Yeah. What about for yourself, Carly?
I don't like this question because I don't want to pick just one.
All right, I'll let you have two.
Pick three. Pick three. I picked three.
Well, actually, to be fair, I am going to pick a selection of people because I think all of the goalkeepers we've had. I mean, we've had a few, a few due to injury and cards and things like that. Yep. But every single goalkeeper we've had, no matter the game, has always been amazing. So that, I mean, I'm sure that's a huge credit as well to both the players and also the goalkeeping coaches in selecting the right kind of people for the team. But I just think our goalkeeping this season, no matter who's been, even Ash Irwin did a pretty good job.
That's right, all five of our goalkeepers.
Yeah. So I think that's been just really impressive to watch. And I guess on the outfield, I love Rolla Badawea. I don't know what it is, but she's just got an energy and just, her runs, and I just really enjoy watching her play. I think she's got a lot of energy and just is quite creative. Just love watching her play.
Yeah.
No coincidence there that Carly and I have lent towards players that are in positions we have both played.
I have no goalkeeper bias.
One's a Carmichael, right?
Yeah. I definitely wasn't singling out central midfielders or defenders. No. Well,
actually, I want to give a shout out too, because someone who I think has been outstanding, that's Peter Trimis. I absolutely love watching her play. I mean, she's just been selected for the Young Matildas again as well for the upcoming tournament for them. To me, she's just one of those. Every time she's around the ball, I just think that she's got the speed and the tenacity to get in. But you're right. I mean, you could pretty much list the whole of our squad, and at some stage you go, God, I love watching them play because there's just brilliant. And the players that we have, not even in the squad, that have barely even been able to make the bench some weeks, it's just been outstanding. The depth is a bit crazy. All right, so if you didn't like that question, you're going to really, really hate this one. Gabs, we're 7th on the table. Where are we going to finish this year?
Why do you do this?
Because it's great for ratings.
I thought we were friends, mate. Seriously.
We are, but it's just what I do.
All right, I'm going to go out on a limb. I haven't even done the maths with the number of games we've got left and all the rest of it. I actually reckon we can get up into 3rd.
Stole my answer.
Wow. Controversy.
I got 3, that's mine.
Well, it must be right then, because you have all the great ideas. I just picked up on it. He cheated because he asked me first.
It's my show. I can ask you whoever I want to. So 3rd. Okay, tell me why we're going to finish there. Tell me. Not arguing, but I think why.
I don't think there's a team in the comp that we can't beat. Like, we've obviously, we've had some challenging results. We've had some near losses. Yep. But I think every game you've seen the team address some of the issues, or they've improved on the things that could be tweaked. And I think they're just galvanizing. The longer they go on, they're really coming together. They're starting to figure that out. They're starting to understand their opposition better. I think we're going to come home strong.
Fair enough too. And Carly, asking you a totally random question that I don't know the answer to. Where are we going to finish this year?
I think we're going to finish 3rd.
Really? Wow. Why?
Look, just the way that we're going, the consistency, the determination, all the right things are happening behind the scenes, all the right things are happening on the field. It's just a matter of time and building up those points. So we're just going to get there.
I'm with you. Well, I'm going to say that we're going to finish in the top 4, and that might sound quite broad, but I'm going to tell you we're going to win the grand final this year. I have absolutely no doubt that we will finish in that top 4 and we will win the grand final. And you heard it here first. We've had a few predictions, right? Wouldn't that be a cool one to get right this year? I just think that once we get into that final series, if we can make that anywhere in the top 6, if we make that top 4, I just have this feeling that these girls are just going to put it all together, and I just think they'll be so fired up. And we've got a lot of players, when you talk to the players individually, and you guys would have done it yourselves, they've come from clubs like Sydney Uni and Lions FC who've come off successful seasons. They've played in grand finals and they've achieved so much over the last couple of years. They've got it in them, this winning mentality. And I just think that's only going to grow. And every time we play, we'll learn something. We just do something a bit better. We may not pick up the result, but we're always seem to be moving forward. So, yep, there's the bold prediction. Top 4 and a grand final win. And the men winning their grand final as well. What a great season it'll be for the Central Coast Mariners, right? How good would that be?
Love a fairy tale finish.
Oh, don't we ever? We've done a few here and there. Who knows? Ladies, thank you so much for joining me for a bit of a chat. It is always fun to have you on the show to talk football. We'll definitely get you on a little bit later in the season to see how close our predictions are going or not. And we'll check you out there. But thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, cheers.
And that brings us to the end of this episode. A massive thank you once again to Tiarna Karambasis for dropping by for a bit of a chat, bit of a chinwag, bit of a conversation. Always great to talk to our players. Just so accommodating to come on and have a chat. And love hearing about our women's team. And what a great job she is doing. As I said, big shoes to fill. And I think she is doing an absolutely admirable job. And also to Carly and to Gabby. Apologies in advance that I put you on the spot with a couple of. Actually, no, I'm not sorry at all. It was fantastic to see. Loved your answers, and they're a mainstay here on the MartyMariner Show. It's great to have them on, and they're absolute club legends, both of them. And look forward to having them on again very, very soon. Quick reminder again: bucket hats, they are on sale now by order only. The order will finish by next Wednesday. I think it's the 21st of February. Make sure you get your orders in through Instagram, through Twitter, or through our Facebook page. Just shoot me a message. Let me know what you would like. I'll send you the details about what happens next, and we will get them ordered for you. The order will be sent next Wednesday night. They take about 3-4 weeks, and I look forward to seeing them out there. What a great show. Always love bringing content about our women's team to you, and look forward to bringing you some very special episodes in the very, very near future. Enjoy your weekend. Enjoy supporting our mighty Central Coast Mariners. 2 big games from this weekend. Look forward to seeing you there for the men's game this weekend. That'll do us for today. It's been the MartyMariner Show.